There is a lick that is in so many classic rock songs and blues songs, and we have all been playing this lick for years and years and years. I have been playing this lick for I don't even want to say how many decades. And the truth is, I'm actually getting a little tired of hearing it. Now, it's a great lick. It's a great lick, and that's why it's in so many classic rock songs. But now that I've been teaching it to my students here in Vancouver for, I don't know how many years, I'm starting to hear them all play it. And I'm just thinking maybe it's time that I move on from this lick. So I've actually stopped teaching the lick. The lick is this. I was going to try to make a comprehensive list of songs that this lick is found in, and I realized that would take me forever. This lick is in Chuck Berry, B.B. King, Jimmy Page, Joe Walsh plays it in Hotel California. Angus Young plays it countless times. David Gilmour plays it in Pink Floyd. He plays it in Comfortably Numb. He plays it in Money. Eric Clapton plays it all the time. Especially anything that is blues rock, you're going to find that lick. Now, each of these examples that I've just played, they're all a little different, admittedly. But they're all basically just bending this D note up to the pitch of E and then going up this way or something like that and then descending back down, right? It is a good lick because bending that D note goes to the pitch of E, and the significance of that is D in the key of A minor is the fourth note of the scale, right? Which doesn't have resolve, not on an A minor chord. And when you bend that fourth up to the fifth E, it resolves to the A minor chord. So that's why we do like that bend. It's one of our favorite bends, right? Because it has that great resolve. But then afterwards, it's always some variation of just these notes on the pentatonic. You know, so Jimmy Page played in one of his famous songs. I think this is the start of the song. You might recognize that. So it got me thinking, if we changed just one tiny habit, what it would do would send us in a completely different direction and spark all kinds of new creative ideas. The thing about this lick is it always sends us in the same direction, right? It always sends us this way up the standard A minor pentatonic shape. So that shape, just to be clear, is... I mean, if you've been playing guitar for a while and playing solos, you know that shape. It's probably the first shape you ever learned. I call it the easy shape, right? And so we're hearing this lick usually over an A minor chord or some kind of bluesy A thing, right? And it sends us this way, which is cool. We like going up. And then we almost always just come back down. Right? So usually it's something like... Yeah, it is a good lick. Don't get me wrong, it's good. But if I play it in every second solo I ever play, it's time to change things up, right? At the very least, maybe we could change the order of the notes a little bit. So if I go and then change to that note, instead of going, I just reverse those notes. Now, it does sound quite a bit different. Yeah, I like that. It's just a little more mixed up, right? It's not the standard. Or do it without the blue note. That's without the blue note. that's a little better just by making that one little change. But it's still basically the same lick because everyone has been playing variations on this lick over the years. And I should mention that I'm going to put some of the tabs from this video online on my website, which is www.bluemorris.com, though the specific link will be in the description. So now we've changed the notes up a little bit, but we could also just take the concept of shifting strings this way, which this classic lick does, shifting strings this way, and just move it to a different string so that we end up in a very different place. So we still have this very comfortable and easy movement, but we'll end up on different notes. And when we end up on different notes, we're very likely to just play something different, right? So let's say instead of starting on the G string, I'm just going to start on the D string instead. So I'm just moving down a string. Now, I'm not going to bend that note because bending that note is not necessarily a good thing. That's an A note. You're going to be bending it to a B note. That's not going to be great in this situation. So we're just going to play 3 strings in a row. It's just going to be, okay, not that interesting yet, but turn it into something from there, right? Now, just the tonal difference is that we're starting on a different note. We still have this easy movement, right? We can play it pretty fast if we need to. That's pretty nice. Or just keep doing it slow. So by taking that same concept of moving this way across the strings, but starting on a different note, we get a very different result, especially what happens after we do the movement. The movement is like kind of a launch, right? It's just a way to start something. And by starting in a different place, we end up in a different place and we're likely to play different things. Maybe we don't want the bend. You know, one of the things about these bends in that classic lick, or any of the bends really, is bends are almost always bluesy, right? Or country, depending on the context. And that might not be right for music if you're playing something that's more, I don't know, 90s grunge maybe, or, you know, something, I don't know, if you're going for a Radiohead sound. You don't necessarily want any of that kind of bluesiness. And so you might want to take some of those bends out of your playing. And one way to do that is just avoid doing that lick for sure, but just avoid bending that one because that note is especially bluesy because we're bending, not only are we bending the 4 to the 5 like we talked, but the 4 passes through the blue note. So that note in particular is very bluesy note to bend. It gets all those notes, the 4, the blue note, the 5, but also all the microtones, if you will, in between, right? So that is very bluesy. So take the bluesy bend away and just play. It's cool. It's thinking more melodically and less bluesy. And you know, I just realized that this lick that I keep complaining about is actually right in my book, Guitar Soloing Like a Pro. But you know, this book is full of all kinds of ways where you can just change a little habit to spark all kinds of new ideas. And most especially, this book will show you how to choose notes that make what you play sound really connected to the harmony underneath. So you can check it out. It's on Amazon. It's called Guitar Soloing Like a Pro. Here's how we can get away from that bluesy bend sound when we don't want it, because we don't always want that sound. Because it has all those microtones in between and because it goes through the blue note, we can do the slide there. So we can basically do a similar lick, and we can still land on the A root. So the A root in the classic lick is there, right? But if we just go up and slide there, we still end up on that root, giving us that same kind of resolve, but now we don't have all that bluesy bending, right? It's actually a pretty sweet little lick. And we can use that lick as a launching pad to so many other ideas. So when we use that slide, what it does is it throws us into the next pentatonic shape up. So it throws us into what I call the extension shape. A lot of people call it the box. Right? It's a really great shape because we just have these 5 notes, all 5 notes of the pentatonic, right there in a convenient little shape. And most importantly, you want to remember where your root is in this shape. That's something that I think not enough students do, is they just think of the shapes, and sure, they know their root is way down here at the 5th fret on the bottom, but knowing that your root is here on the 10th fret of the B string means that you can always come back to it no matter what you're playing to give yourself resolve. So if I do the slide up, that would be the kind of bluesy version of this lick, because I'm still going up to the blue note there, right? That blue note is the 11th fret of the high E. So we have the slide. And again, I'm coming back to that A note, right? That's what's making the lick sound kind of complete. But now, similar to how we did in the other shape, where we just choose 2 notes to switch around to make it more interesting, we're going to do the same with this lick. So I'm going to do the slide, and then up to that C note, but then I'm going to go to the blue note next, and come back down. So it's... That would be a good bluesy version. But if we don't want any blue note, depending on the genre we're playing, pretty good. Sometimes you just need to double back once to add more length to the lick, depending on what you're looking for, right? That's do-do-do at the end because it felt like, that lick needs to be a little longer. Or we go back down. Now, with this slide, we don't have to go straight to the root. Well, that's great. It's good. We love it. We could also jump up to this C note. That is a George Harrison lick. That's from the solo of Let It Be, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. That's a very cool lick. We get this big separation of these 2 notes from the E to the C. With some soloing, we want to think more about melody and not necessarily all this bending. Now, if you're playing in a blues band or if you're playing in a blues rock band, I mean, bend away, of course. Remember, I'm just being a little bit critical of how often we all use these licks, because I guess for some reason we were all taught these licks by perhaps guitar teachers like me, because those are the licks that my teachers taught me, right? All those years ago. And so just remember that if you find yourself playing a similar lick over and over, start to notice that and say, oh, I keep playing that lick. Now, if it's a good lick, then yeah, I'm not saying don't play it, but maybe force yourself to change it up a little bit, because when you change just one tiny little thing, it sends you in a different direction and it sparks all kinds of different creative ideas, just like these. So for now, I'm gonna hold off on teaching the old standby. And I probably bet that one day I'm gonna miss it and it's gonna come out again and I'm gonna think, oh, I missed that great lick. So please like and subscribe. We're going to try to make a video here every week for you. And if you have any ideas for videos that you'd like done, let me know. If you have any questions about guitar or things that you've been struggling with in particular that you would like to ask a guitar teacher about, ask away. Just put your questions in the comments. And if it looks like something that we can make a video of, maybe we'll do it for you. So thanks very much share the video, and check us out at www.bluemorris.com.